1-888-208-6946. The attorneys from the Bryant Law Center, Paducah, Mayfield, and Louisville, answering your personal injury-related questions, not only on part 1, but part 2 as well. And so give us a shout. We'll try to get answers to those. And we do have an inquiry from someone, and I think they actually phoned in this morning, knowing that you're going to be on, and they said that they would like to know any details you may have on eye drop lawsuit that Bryant Law Center has been a part of. I think there was something against the maker of eye drops. Does that sound familiar at all?
Well, Dave, it may be something that our office is handling. I know I don't personally have any involvement with it, nor does Austin. So if the viewer would like to call into the office, we can certainly direct them to the person within the office that can answer their questions about status or what exactly is going on with those suits. But I'm sorry, I just don't have any details I can provide here on camera.
First question, as far as personal injury, comes from someone who says, my wife was involved in a pretty bad car wreck a couple of weeks ago. It's been 2.5 weeks. The insurance company has still not called me. When should I call them? And Austin, more importantly, maybe when would be a good time for them to get an attorney?
Well, I mean, I guess on the first question, the first part, it's not too uncommon for you not to have heard anything just yet. I mean, every insurance company is different, every adjuster is different, and within these insurance companies, they have different departments. They have, a department handling property damage, a department handling PIP, a department handling liability or bodily injury claims. So if you haven't heard anything in 2 weeks, that's getting a little out there. I would definitely be calling them every day, and at the same time, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and get in touch with a lawyer. Because you don't know whether or not they're even doing their due diligence, if they're doing an investigation, whether or not they've been put on notice at all. So go ahead and contact a lawyer and see what they can do for you.
Next question comes from someone that really is along the lines of workers' compensation. Someone says, can you explain the grandfather clause on workers' compensation that Matt Bevins signed in? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, it was passed in July of 2018. Prior to that, medicals were open for your lifetime. And the issue with that was that, say you have an injury in your 20s and then work comp is on the hook for your medicals because you left them open as part of your settlement or judgment. And 30 years down the road, you're having to have another procedure done. Maybe it's very similar, closely related to what you had with the work comp case 30 years prior. Well, I guess the attenuation between those two injuries and the time that's gone by make it difficult to attribute it to the work incident. Perhaps it could be something like degenerative disc disease or another injury that you had somewhere else, maybe a car accident. So what they did is they passed the new law in July 2018 to where medicals are open for 15 years from the date of the accident, and then 6 months prior to that 15-year anniversary, you'll get a notice letter asking if you want to apply for an extension. Obviously, since it's only been 5-6 years since that's happened, we haven't seen how that quite works. But it's my understanding that the grandfather clause will allow your medicals to be open if your injury was sustained prior to 2018.
Well, we are just about out of time for part 1 of today's Local 6 Legal Line. If you have personal injury questions, give us a shout, 1-888-208-6946. We'll get answers to those on the other side of the break as we go pedal down with part 2 of Local 6 Legal Line on Local 6 Midday.